Slowly.
Waiting. My fingers drum out in an even rhythm on the hard plastic armrest of my chair. The noise jars against the light, methodical patter of the receptionist on her ergonomic keyboard. I see her wince and know I'm rubbing her up the wrong way, like nails down a chalkboard. Good. My non-verbal protest is the only complaint I can make because waiting, it's a privilege. It means I've moved up one rung on Dr. Peterson's ladder of trust. One rung on a ladder that stretches all the way up to the cloud-covered sky. I'm at the bottom, and I have no intention of climbing to the top. Still, my small ascent has its advantages. I'm wearing my own clothes for a start. My hands are free and I can continue my discreet torture of the snooty-faced secretary. Smiling serenely at her, I increase the volume of my tapping. The door opens, both the receptionist and I look towards the rectangle of space, but no one appears. Through the doorway I can just make out the cream wall covered with certificates and the plush shag of the crimson red carpet. At no sign that I can see, the receptionist takes her cue. Dr. Peterson will see you now. She's perfected that sickly sweet voice, professional, polite and dripping with disdain. I avoid looking at her as I rise out of my seat. The rubber soles of my plimsolls, real shoes are at least another 6 rungs, make no sound on the cheap laminate floor. Instead, slightly out of step with me, the heavy tread of my escort announces my presence. Loud enough for Dr. Peterson to know I'm coming. Loud enough for him to look up and greet me. He doesn't. How are you today, Heather? He asks the piece of paper in front of him. It doesn't answer. There are at least 8 seconds of silence before he deigns to lift his eyes to me. He raises his eyebrows, his expression open, pleasant, as if we are friends, confidants. We are not. I hold his gaze as I ease myself into the plush leather chair facing his desk. No ugly moulded plastic in his room. He drops his eyes first and I allow myself a small smirk of victory as I watch him go through the rigmarole of shuffling the papers on his desk, clicking his engraved silver pen several times and adjusting his tie, his shirt. Then he clears his throat and fixes me with a piercing look. Now we're really playing. Are you ready to talk today, Heather? To you, no. He reads it in my face and sighs. Leaning forward over the desk, he drops the pen and presses the fingers of both hands together into a steeple. The soft yellow spotlights inlaid into the ceiling make the signet ring on his right little finger sparkle. I can't see what's imprinted on the circular face, just the hint of etchings, rubbed, worn with age. Like the lines around his eyes, the repugnant folds of his jowls surrounding a mouth puckered by dislike. The expression he wears every time he looks at me. The feeling is mutual. I have a report to make to the court, you know. I lift one eyebrow disdainfully. Have you? The judge wants an update on your progress, your state of mind, Heather. I can't do that if you won't engage with me. Written down, these words seem considerate, the rhetoric of a doctor who cares about his patient, about her welfare. When this is transcribed by the receptionist outside, and I know I'm being recorded, even if I can't see the equipment, I'm sure that is how it will read. Only I can hear the razor edge of threat. I have the power to send you somewhere where there will be bars on your window instead of straps on your bed. That's what he's really saying. Play nice, open up to me, let me inside your mind, and you can climb up the ladder until one day blue sky and blazing sun will be the only things hanging over your head. What Dr. Peterson doesn't understand is that I'm not safe. Whether I'm here in prison, not even if I'm free. It doesn't matter where I am. I'm not safe. a darkness infinitely more potent than his bureaucratic intimidation hovers, makes this puppetry a ludicrous sideshow. And he just wouldn't understand. So why the hell should I play his game? He sees the thought shining clear as day from my eyes and grimaces. Momentarily defeated, he flicks through the sheaves of papers about me, reports, medical notes, facts and figures, and scans for something, anything to fill the minutes. He's not quite as comfortable with silence as I am. Suddenly his eyes light up. In response, mine narrow to slits. What has he found? I have a release form here, he says, waving a single piece of blue paper in the air for a brief moment. Before I can focus on it, he returns it to the pile. Release form. He has my interest now. There's no hiding it. Victory number 2 goes to him, and he is not above preening. I have to sign to say that you are stable enough to be allowed out of this establishment temporarily for the surgery on your right hand to be performed. My hand. I look down at where it's folded into my lap, unconsciously shielded from view by my unblemished left. I can't see it, but I can still feel it. The puckered rivets, the rough unevenness of the scars. Slowly I shift position and lightly place a hand on each knee. Stare at the difference. Left, pale white skin, fingers long and thin, nails bare and unvarnished, but as long as they'll let me keep them, they could be a weapon after all. They have been when I had the chance. Right, ravaged, red, misshapen, nails missing or twisted, more a claw than a hand, ugly, monstrous. I feel my eyes tear up. I am helpless to stop it. My hand, Peterson's still talking, but I can't hear him. Heather, are you listening? No. For me to sign this, you need to show that you can communicate, that you're rational enough to be allowed out of this establishment for the procedure. You have to talk to me today. It's important. He lifts another document. This one is thick. It's multiple pages, straining the staple that holds it together. We're going to go over your statement to the police, what you told them. He pauses, as if he's waiting for me to say something. Give him permission to go right ahead. Your own words, Heather. Exactly as you said them. Let's start at the beginning. The beginning. I think about it as I cradle my hand, close my eyes and imagine I'm not here, but that I'm flying down the motorway, surrounded by my friends. I can almost hear the song blaring from the radio. So she's beginning to do what's called a flashback and start telling the story of what's happened to her in the past, which starts in chapter 2. Okay? Right, that's good. Carry on reading your own books.